Hello?
Hey, it's CJ.
Who?
CJ, your podcast buddy.
Yeah, it's not ringing a bell.
Hang on, shouldn't that be my line? Anyway, I'm calling about the next episode.
Oh, God. We're still doing that?
Yes, of course we are. The year is 1977.
I think you'll find it's 2026.
No, the podcast year is 1977. I've done a ton of research. It's going to be awesome. Are you still good to record at 6 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah, well, why not now? I'd be just as ready.
Wait, does something here not seem quite right to you?
Aside from you?
No, something seems off. Why is it that I'm the one who's done all the research and you're the one who's underprepared?
Oh, maybe it's the laziness.
Wait, I think I know what it is. 1977 is the year the first Freaky Friday movie came out. I think we swapped bodies.
Yeah, that's not how this works.
Are you sure? I don't remember putting on this banana hammock this morning.
This is me. And this is me.
And welcome to...
What's My Age Again? Again.
Okay, and as we heard in the opening, the year's 1977. The president of the United States is Jimmy Carter, the peanut farmer.
I think we're going to call him a peanut then.
Sorry?
The president, Jimmy Carter, the peanut.
Well, he was a peanut farmer. The Prime Minister of the UK was a guy called James Callaghan, who was so successful that...
he had a series of Dirty Harry movies made about it.
No, I was going to say he's the last Prime Minister before Margaret Thatcher, and who stayed Prime Minister for 1,000,000 years. So,
okay.
The last Labour Prime Minister before Margaret Thatcher. And
he obviously did well there.
he did really well. And the Australian Prime Minister was Malcolm Fraser, the guy who, when the dismissal happened the year before, was installed as Prime Minister by the Governor-General after having just kicked out the duly elected Prime Minister. So, there you go.
Didn't he also get caught drunk with no trousers on?
He did, yes. He was somewhere, I think it might have been in Georgia. He was in a hotel, and he ended up walking into the lobby of a hotel with no pants on because I think allegedly had an assignation with a lady of the night, and she robbed him and left him with no pants.
Oh, wow. Okay. So in a previous episode, we had Bob Hawke, who's the Guinness Book of World Record holder for downing a yard of beer. Yeah. And then in whatever year, I don't know if I don't think we'll do the year of Harold Holt.
Not for a while anyway. I think that was the year before 1969. So yeah, we won't do that one for a while. But yeah, the guy who drowned.
I was talking to people at work, and I said something about Harold Holt, and I was like, who's that? I said he's Prime Minister who drowned in the ocean, just went for a swim, didn't come back, who ironically has a pool named after him. And I went, what do you mean he went for a swim in the ocean, didn't come back? It's like, that's like what happened back then. Yes. Maybe he got taken by a submarine, maybe he drowned, maybe he got taken by a shark, maybe he went, fuck this, I'm out of here, and he swam to New Zealand, who knows?
Who can say?
The world population in 1977, 4.2 billion.
Okay.
Compared to 8.3 billion. Now,
right.
Check this out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I'm checking. No, it's all right. I had nothing to say.
It's going to be a boring podcast. Check this out. It surprised me. Average lifespan. So this is in Australia, because I don't really care about anywhere else in the rest of the world. Males, 1977, 69.6 was the average life expectancy, compared to 76.2 in 1999 and 82 point something now. Females 76.6 in 1977 versus 81.1 in 1999 and 85, I think now.
I bet that predates heart bypass surgery.
Possibly. I did do a minimal amount of research and just discovered the 1970s marked a period of rapid increases in lifespan due to medical advancements and improved living standards.
Obviously, this is not in 77. This is like 15 years earlier. My grandfather, who I never met because he died before I was born, like he had had a heart attack and died at 72. And nowadays, he'd have just had a routine bypass and he would have been fined for another, 10 years or more.
Although he did, if I remember from previous episodes, he did build the Berlin Wall in his backyard, a life-size version of the Berlin Wall or something in his backyard, didn't he?
That was true. Yes, he did mine some stone. It was like real life Minecraft in his backyard.
I can remember when I was a kid and people would retire from work and then like 12 months later, it'd be, oh, you remember Jim? Yeah, didn't he just retire from work? Yeah, he's dead. They'd retire and then just died like 4 weeks later. Partly, I know now that's because their purpose in life had disappeared.
Yes.
So their complete identity went, and this is horrific for health issues. And also the people didn't get divorced back then. I think there's a lot of, how long am I going to have to put up with this?
I'd rather be dead.
Yeah, on both sides.
Yes.
But so the retirement age in 1977 in Australia was 65 and the average lifespan was 69. So it makes perfect sense that they were kind of carking it. It was 60 if you were female.
Yeah.
What I found really interesting, I need to stop saying what I found. For anybody who didn't pick up in the last episode, I realized that I say, this is really interesting 4,000 times. Maybe because it's such an interesting podcast, who can tell? Is that it was 60, then it's 62, I think, now. But they put the retirement age up because females were living longer. So I think they went, fuck yeah. If you're living longer, we're going to drag as much out of you as we can.
Yes, absolutely.
So there you go. So now you can retire at 67, I think, in Australia, and they're talking about putting it up even higher. But you could potentially live to 82. The other thing is that, but we talked about this before, is the concept of back then, like in 1977, if you were 65, you were old.
Yeah.
Like even taking into account that we were kids and they were older, but you were old. You were doing the old stuff. There was no, just turned 65. I'm heading off down to the discotheque.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't know why people just gave in to that. I mean, I'm a bit of an old fart by comparison to some people, but even so, I mean, you go out a lot more than I go out. And when you go out, you stay out for a while. I quite happily staying at home most of the time. But I don't sit there rocking in my rocking chair.
No, it's bizarre because it's not. We can say it's not that long ago. It is that long ago. More than 30 years ago. You're the teacher guy. How long ago was it?
Close to 50 years ago. So,
and moving on. So, where were you in 1970? Where were you?
Where was I? Well, I was at high school. I was probably in year 10, I think. And probably the most significant thing that happened to me that year was it was the first time I went to the UK because I had family living there. I had two sisters living in the UK, so my parents took me there. That's when I went.
I had two sisters living in the UK, so my parents took me there on the hopes of leaving you there.
No.
Look how much your sisters are enjoying this.
So yeah, went to Singapore when it was like a small country town, not like a massive metropolis like it is now. And then went to the UK. Oh, this is the it was the year that you're going to think this is super daggy because it is. It was the year that ELO's, I think, New World Record came out, and I was right into it for whatever reason. So my two sisters were living in a bedsit in Blackheath in London, and my parents were living around the corner in a like a bed and breakfast. And so I was staying with my sisters, and I bought this record, and I'm playing this record over and over again. I'm like 15 or something, and like I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to go and do. All I wanted to do was sit in this bloody room and listen to this record. It's like freaking ridiculous. So that was that. Other than that, my recollection of that time is that's pretty much my recollections of that time. I was playing soccer, doing all that kind of stuff. Where were you?
I was also in high school in year 8 or year 9. I was getting to the stage of school where it was, I can't tolerate this anymore. I need to get out of here, which is, I think, also what the teachers were saying. And I thought it might be interesting to, and again, I'll preface this with not a hoarder, but I do have some of my old report cards.
Oh, good. Okay. Well,
and I thought it would be
let's see where CJ was at back then.
Yeah, so I thought it'd be interesting to talk about some of the things that were on report cards, and I thought it might be fun to see, is this the sort of thing that you would put on your kids' report cards now?
Right. Okay. Run some past me.
So in year 8, 30th of June 1977, science, B, a pleasing result.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we're told we can't even say the word pleasing because we're told that no one cares what you think, teacher. Basically, if I wrote that this child has a pleasing personality, my boss would say, "Who cares what you think?" It's not being objective. It's basically saying, I would have to say, this child has a personality which is appreciated by his peers or something like that.
Right.
So you can't say things like, it's just the word pleasing is one that I can't say.
Right. Okay. So you could say satisfactory result.
Yes, I could say that.
Okay. Or a fair result with more effort needed.
We wouldn't put it that way.
Right.
We would say something like he has the capacity for greater focus in this subject area.
Right. Would you say, for maths, failed to make any real effort to correct any weaknesses?
No, we would not say that. Here's one that I might use for that situation. Mm-hmm. Has some difficulty focusing on work, and this impacts his learning in the classroom environment.
All right. I feel like this is like a challenge now to see what you can do with some of these. Yes. CJ has made no effort at all this year. No notebooks or assignments, no work at all.
I wish I could say that. Here's what I wrote about a kid who I would have said that about if I could have. Right. Okay. So-and-so brought a lively presence to our classroom and is continuing to work towards meeting stage 3 expectations in both learning and behaviour. Well, here's another one, similar. Has difficulties focusing on work, and this impacts his learning in the classroom environment.
Okay.
This is the kind of shit we have to say.
Right. There's a common theme of has ability but doesn't use it. Would be better off working alone?
I thought you say would be better off dead.
No, that was year 10. CJ does his work only if pushed.
Okay.
CJ's failed to do any of the work required. He has a poor attitude towards work, disappointing effort. Bookwork unsatisfactory.
They say that nowadays too.
Okay. The lowest mark in class, lazy, careless classwork, and no assignments.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a tricky one.
Yeah. Okay. Has the capacity for insightful thinking when he chooses to focus, though his contributions to class discussions were inconsistent and often off topic. He is gradually working towards developing more positive, appropriate, and respectful interactions with both peers and staff members. He's an asshole.
That doesn't sound like me at all. I think this one sums it up, though, for pretty well most of my school career. CJ is lazy and easily distracted.
Yeah, well, plug in one of those things I said before. Basically, we can't say lazy, we can't say distracted, we can't say, particularly for kids who are, probably ADHD, these kids I'm talking about here. So we've got to be a bit more understanding.
Right.
When you talk to their parents, then you tell them all that stuff, but we don't put it down in writing.
This is one that you wouldn't get these days in mathematics. Much improved this term, but CJ's written work is appalling.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't say that.
No.
You say something like, is working towards presenting appropriately sort of, I don't know, written classwork or something like that.
Well, I think the thing that would be fundamentally different is that it implies that would have implied that I was actually making some kind of effort to change my behaviour and do something different, which when you look at my school reports, there's a clear indication that I'm not.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like I was a big SWAT. I mean, I didn't actually get out my reports. They were all could try harder, basically. Every single one of them was it could try harder. And there was one where it was like year 12 general studies, which is like a nothing subject you just do to pick up a unit. And the guy who was the teacher was he and another student and myself. We just sat there making jokes the entire time. And this teacher was basically taking part in it. And then when the report came, it was like, Scott is flippant. Said, yeah, and
your parents went, this report says you're flippant, and you went, whatever.
Yeah, so quite weird. I felt thrown under the bus by that one because this guy was more flippant than I was.
Maybe he was concerned that you were comparably flippant, and it was making him look bad.
He saw himself in me.
Yeah,
that's like what the Catholic priest was saying.
Speaking of kisses, I think 77 may have been the year where I had my first proper kiss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I do. I can remember it. I remember it. It took far too long because it was the first one for both of us.
Okay.
Shout out to Linda if you're listening.
Okay. This isn't a where was I, but I was talking to my partner yesterday and telling her that we were going to be doing 1977 as a topic. And she was born in China in 1970. And the Cultural Revolution had just finished in 1976, but they hadn't really moved on from the Cultural Revolution. There's still lots of things that were taboo that they hadn't changed. And one of the things was you couldn't kiss in public, you couldn't hold hands in public, to the point where you could go to jail for that. And in fact, she was which is where
there's a lot more kissing and holding hands going.
Yeah. You like this? Well, guess what? Well, she was saying that there was one time when the kids were all brought out into an open field, and they'd built some kind of a wooden stage. So all the kids from the school were out sitting in the wooden field. And then these people sort of dressed up in sort of Maoist uniforms came onto the stage and paraded on two people, a boy and a girl, like older, probably about 17 or something like that. Mm-hmm. They had their hands tied behind their backs and tied to boards, and they were made to walk out to the front of the stage, kneel down, confess their crimes in front of everyone, and then they were berated by everybody. And the boy was sent to jail for having been seen kissing the girl, and the girl, her family moved away because they couldn't stand the stigma of being the bad family. So, I mean, that's such a bizarre to think when you sort of, you think about. I can't imagine that in my life. Yet, very matter of factly giving me this information. So, yep, that was 1977 in China.
All righty. No, well, I was being called lazy by my teachers, though. So, which is worse? Which swings and roundabouts. Finally, the only other thing that I could think of from 1977 was there was the year, and this is foreshadowing what's coming in the next segment, because there's lots of death-related stuff. But it was the year of Australia's worst rail crash at Granville in Sydney.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah, I
where
remember
the
that.
train hit a car bridge, knocked the car bridge down. It landed on the train. 83 people got killed.
Yeah, crazy.
And I remember that because my dad was working at a place that was near where that happened, so he went down there to help out.
Right.
And my sister-in-law, because it had come from the train, there was an express train from the Blue Mountains, and it was the train that my sister-in-law would usually be on. And turns out she was running late that day and wasn't.
Wow.
Yeah,
there you go.
And I'd actually written a story about that in English class. Again, not a hoarder.
Yeah. Wow, you really are a hoarder if you've still got things. I've got.
What I'm wondering though is that whether, based because whether she actually was supposed to be on that train and was running late, or whether I just made that up because I thought it'd make a more interesting story. So could go either way.
The early version of sliding doors.
Yes, literally. Yeah, that's where we were.
And we're back. Now, CJ gave me the job of doing a bit of research into the technology that came out in 1977, and I was channeling my inner CJ when I didn't do a very good job of that. One of the things that there are three sort of big things that came out, two of which I was really kind of unaware of. One was a TRS-80, which is a Tandy / Radio Shack computer, which is a TRS is what is Tandy Radio Shack.
There you go. I did not know that.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff I can tell you about it, which is very, really boring information, except for the fact it had 4 kilobytes of RAM.
Ooh.
So that was pretty massive. It ran on BASIC, which I would have at once upon a time been able to write a very bad program for. Then what was the Commodore one? I can't find my notes on that. The Commodore
PET, I think.
PET, that's right, a Commodore PET, which is obviously the precursor of the VIC-20 and the Commodore 64 and the Commodore 128. But that was even further beneath my notice. I'd never even heard of anything till the Commodore 64, and I knew the VIC-20 existed, but only after I knew the Commodore 64 existed. So
right.
There you go. But the big thing that came out in 77 that has an ongoing place in the world is Apple, the company, and the Apple II particularly. It was an 8-bit home computer designed by Wozniak, not anything to do with the other guy. Fault was the guy who must not be named. But it was one of those things. Ran off a floppy drive, a 5.25-inch floppy drive, so one of those big, fat, enormous floppy drives, the original actual floppy drives. It says it sold millions of units. How many millions? Who can say? Because it only tells me it sold millions of units and established Apple as a major computer company, which I think you can say it still is.
Yeah, it seems to be doing all right for itself.
The person I wouldn't name before, I don't know why I wouldn't name him, but Steve Jobs, I don't know, he obviously had some praise, but Wozniak seemed to be the mover and the shaker back in those days. What else happened in 1977, CJ?
Well, to try and shoehorn in the fact that we're still somehow vaguely age-related and health-related.
Oh, sure.
As a podcast, it's not really age-related, but first MRI scanner was tested on a human patient.
Okay.
In 1977, that surprised me. For some reason, it makes sense when you think about it, but for some reason, I just thought it would have been much earlier than that.
Was that the guy they realised that you need to take out your earrings? And
I don't think in 1977 there was too many guys wearing earrings and nipple piercings, but it specifically designed for identifying cancer cells.
Okay.
And it was the first time that they tried it on a person.
Did it say what the result was?
So, yeah, they found that he had cancer cells.
Okay.
So I think they probably went, look, you realize you got cancer, right? Things are looking pretty shit. We've got this big machine that we want to put you in. What'll happen? Oh, it's run by magnets and stuff. Right, will it kill me? It probably shouldn't. So, what I looked up, what was happening in 1977, it did nothing to change my opinion of I don't like our AI and I think it's plotting against us. So, like, aside from as I mentioned, the Australia's worst rail crash, it was also the year of the deadliest accident in aviation history at Tenerife, where two planes collided, killing 583 people. Which, if you're feeling morbid and you've got time to kill, no pun intended. It's a really interesting story of the things that led up to that. I've used that before in training courses, and it's this series of there's like 30 things that are just minor things that if one of them hadn't happened, that wouldn't have occurred.
Oh, okay. So it's just
it's amazing.
Added up.
All of the things that had, like, it's enough that if you were to put it in a movie or a story, people would go, no, fuck off. It's too, you can't have that many coincidences, and you can't have like, if that happened to happen. 1977 was also the year that the son of Sam serial killer was arrested.
Okay.
So postal employee David Berkowitz is caught and charged with being the son of Sam serial killer. He terrorized New York for more than a year. I was surprised that he only killed 6 people.
Okay, because I thought about the fame.
Yeah, you would think it was far more than that.
I never worked out why he was the son of Sam. What's that all about?
You're asking the wrong person on that one.
You keep talking, I'll look it up.
This reminds me of the time that we ended up finding out how you could fight an ice bridge. There was some stuff about his dog. I think it's something religious. I don't know. So he killed 6 people and wounded 7 with a 44 caliber revolver. The thing that I did find surprising and interesting.
Yes.
It's not where the term going postal comes from.
Oh, okay.
Which I always thought it was because he was a postal employee. But it is in fact not.
All right. There you go.
It's in fact from the fact that the US postal workers have a bit of a habit of killing people in post offices. So in 1986, there was a postal worker who killed 14 employees and wounded 6.
Okay. He wasn't the son of Sam.
No, this is from a list that was these were the highlights of postal worker killings. So it's not even all of them. When I had a look, there's zillions of them. In 1991, there was somebody who worked at a post office who killed 5 of their co-workers and injured 5 more. And then in 2006, there was somebody who killed 7 of their co-workers. Yeah, so the term going postal came from a congressional hearing, I think. The Postal Service accounted for less than 1% of the workforce, but 13% of workplace homicides.
Well, it's weird that in a culture where mass shootings are the norm, that there are people who killed less people who become reviled as serial killers.
Yeah.
It's quite bizarre. And I have found out why the son of Sam was called the son of Sam.
Because his dad's name was Sam?
Well, basically, yeah.
Okay, right.
He wrote a letter as like when they were talking about him on TV, he got upset about the things they were saying about him. So he wrote an anonymous letter saying, I am deeply hurt by you calling me a woman hater. I am not, but I am a monster. I am the son of Sam. I am a little brat. When my father Sam gets drunk, he gets mean. He beats his family and then goes on and on and on.
Right. So it wasn't actually anything that clever at all.
Not really.
Well, so there you go. So son of Sam's a bit boring, as it turns out.
Oh, but then hold on. I'm looking at another part of his letter. It's, please let me haunt you with these words. I'll be back. I'll be back. Bang, 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 bang. Ugh. Yours in murder, Mr. Monster. So that's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Maybe I can see why he was famous. Oh, dear.
As AI Overlord mentioned at the beginning, 1977 was also the year of one of the biggest movies ever, Star Wars.
Yes.
Which is, I found some interesting stuff around that. While Star Wars was coming out, guess what they were doing in France?
Eating cheese. Hitting each other with baguettes.
Chopping a person's head off with a guillotine to execute them because they were a prisoner who had received the death sentence. 1977, year that Star Wars came out, was the last execution in France with a guillotine.
Oh, well.
Here's what's even more bizarre, if that's not they fell into a bit of a rabbit hole. I don't know if maybe you can maybe guillotine is a French word for.
Yes, it
but
is.
apparently
It was actually made by a man called Monsieur Guillotine during the French Revolution as a humane way of killing people, far more humane than chopping the head off with a sword or an axe.
Yes. Even it was originally called the decapitation machine.
Well, it's what you read on the label.
Yeah, it's what it says on the tin. Yeah. The thing that I found really weird was they were chopping people's heads off. They weren't. So it wasn't. They weren't doing it in like the town square the way that they used to. They would do it off in the thing. But it wasn't that they went, we probably should stop chopping people's heads off. It's 1977. Maybe let's find something else. They just didn't kill anybody. And then in 1981, they said, okay, let's stop doing that. So they didn't actually stop the death penalty until 1981. They just didn't kill anyone between 77 and 81. For which I found when I actually did some research, there was 15 people sentenced to death between 77 and 81. But the president at the time went, I don't know if I'm a fan of this killing people thing. It's making me look bad in the papers. So he commuted their sentences to life imprisonment.
Okay. I'm just looking, while you're talking, I'm just looking to see if I can find a picture of what the last guillotine looked like. Did it look like one of those old wooden things I used in the French Revolution, or was it more like a salami cutter? And I can't really see any information about it. So who knows? What's this?
I did discover that early decapitation machines weren't really a razor-sharp blade. They were more like a pointy rock.
Nice. Well, I've just found a picture of the last guillotine, and it is an old wooden thing that looks like it was out of the French Revolution. It is not some kind of, super sophisticated machine. No, exactly the same.
All right.
I can't see whether it had a basket for the head to fall into, though. That's the only thing.
Well, I suppose they figure, it's like if it's working, why fuck with it?
Fair.
So while France was saying, do you know what, we probably should stop killing people, the US went, we should start killing people. And so they'd reinstated the death penalty and executed a guy named Gary Gilmore.
Oh, yes. I remember that because there was an Australian cricketer called Gary Gilmore.
Yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, so good work. Good work, America.
Well done. And they're still killing people.
Yes, not the right ones. But it was also the year that the rock band Lynyrd Skynyrd decided they'd go for a plane ride. 3 of them died.
Yeah, not good.
Mark Bolan from T-Rex died.
Okay. Did he live that long? I thought he died earlier than that. There you go.
I think he probably got, because there was so much other stuff going on, because with Lynyrd Skynyrd was an interesting death. Mark Bolan was just a car crash. And Elvis died.
Oh, yes.
That probably overshadowed things. It
would have, because he was pretty fat.
So Elvis died, or did he? There's a great documentary, in inverted commas, on Prime called something, I don't remember what it's called. It's like Elvis Lives or something. It seems to be done as though it's a real documentary of this guy who manages to hunt down Elvis living in a 2-bedroom house in some suburb in New Mexico or something.
Okay.
But he's kind of keeping, he's keeping out of the limelight, and he just wants to live a normal life. But when he manages to go, and because he goes and knocks on the door, and the guy's like, "Go away," he says it with an Elvis voice, not whatever that was. It's supposed to be an Elvis voice, but apparently I can't do that either.
I have not left the building.
And then when he finally gets him to talk to him, he comes inside, and the house is like full of Elvis memorabilia, and the guy who's keeping a low profile looks exactly like Elvis if he'd been the age that he was supposed to be, with big rings on and the big collar. And I think one of the giveaways for what the documentary maker thought he'd found him was there was the car in the carport with the number plate Elvis or something.
Or maybe he was just a really good Elvis impersonator.
Yeah. There's a very good movie called Bubba Hotep that has an Elvis thing in it. It's set in an old a mummy attacks an old person's home, and the 2 people in the old person's home, one's JFK and one's Elvis, and they both faked their death and have ended up there, and they're like 80 years old or something. It's really cleverly done.
It sounds good.
Because they're both going, when we realised it was a mistake to fake our deaths, it was too late. We couldn't do anything about it. So we were stuck. It's very clever. But on the plus side, unless you've got more dead people stuff.
No, I got nothing.
Yeah, okay. On the plus side, it was Queen Elizabeth II's, Queen Elizabeth II's Silver Jubilee.
Okay, 25 years. 25 years.
Oh, I would have
No, I
said
don't think
50. 25 doesn't sound like very long for the 70s. Oh, I don't know. Because she was... Yeah, no, it'd have to be 50.
No.
Because she was
pretty
queen
sure.
in the war, wasn't she?
No. She wasn't queen till the 1950s. 25 years is the Silver Jubilee.
Oh, there you go. And it was the same year that Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs. 3 home runs.
Home ones.
Turned into Jonathan Ross. Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs in the 6th game of the World Series. In 3 consecutive, came out, got a pitch, whack, home run, came out for the next inning, got a pitch, whack, home run, came out, got a pitch, next inning, home, whack. 3 consecutive pitches from 3 different pitches.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, if I was interested in baseball, I'd be even more interested, but it does sound like it's a remarkable feat.
It is, in fact, a remarkable feat. So only Babe Ruth had done it up to that point.
Okay.
But he hadn't done it on 3 consecutive pitches or 3 consecutive at-bats. Babe Ruth had also done it twice.
Okay.
So, and in fact, up to 2000, and I think up to now, 4 people have done it.
Okay.
1926, 1928, 1977, 2011 and 2000.
Very good.
And I bet that in 1977, after Reggie Jackson hit those home runs, he had a brewski.
Okay. What kind of brewski would he have had?
Why do you say that, you ask?
Why do you say that?
Because that was the year that the first time the word brewski was used.
Okay. I thought you were doing a clever segue into what's my beer.
Well, I am, because it's brewski. It's the first time that it was used.
Okay. Another beer fact from 1977 is that Jimmy Carter's brother, Billy, bought out Billy Beer.
Billy Beer, yes.
Yes.
He was well known as the comedy sidekick
Yes.
of the White House, as opposed to the one who's president now.
I think the comedy there starting to run very thin.
Yeah, so I was surprised that brewski is one of those words that you figure was always around. But it first appeared in 1977. When I looked at the entomology of it, or the etymology, and one's
entomology is the study of insects.
That explains why I couldn't find anything for a long time. The best that I could find was it's likely came from college students who used to drink brews, and as in beers, and used to like to put ski on the end of words like budski and budinsky.
Okay.
And so they probably said brewski.
And then the rest is history.
Yeah. And so now we use it all.
First, every time I have a brew.
I like beer because it is good. I drink beer because I should. If there was a song to sing, I sing it and beer you bring. I drink beer when I am sad, because the beer, it makes me glad. Now there's nothing left to say, so let's go drink beer.
So, CJ, what's your beer again?
My beer again is a Helios Brewing Company beer, who are a craft beer company from Yeerongpilly, possibly, in Queensland, Australia. And it's a Goddess Red Rye. Ooh. So I'm a fan of red beers, and I'm also a fan of rye beers. So Red Rye, that was pretty good. It says, our nod to Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of sexuality and beauty. Goddess Red Rye is a seductive American-style red ale with complex specialty malts intertwining seamlessly with modern American hops to form a luxurious union of flavour.
Ooh, luxurious union.
Yes. Helios embodies the spirit of sustainable craftsmanship, blending traditional brewing techniques with the abundant energy of the Australian sun. Our beers are testament to our commitment to the environment, offering pure, flavourful beers that are refreshing as the golden rays that power them. Dive into a can of Helios Brewing and experience the taste of sun-fueled innovation in every sip. That's what I like in my beer, sun-fueled innovation. What's it taste? It looks a little red. What's it taste like?
It looks pretty red in the.
It's not bad. It's a little. I can't really taste the sun-fueled innovation in there. Maybe I took too big a sip.
But who knows what that even tastes like?
Yeah, it's a good point. Maybe I am tasting sun-fueled innovation.
Who can say?
It's luckily it's not windmill-fueled innovation. It's pretty good. I would drink this again.
Okay, very good.
It's 6.3%. And what's your beer again?
Okay, in the tradition of me drinking beers that are below par.
Oh, God.
I'm drinking a beer that's a fake craft beer. It's a beer that's...
There's so many.
Yeah. It's James Squire's Lashes Pale Ale.
Right.
Which was given to me as a Christmas present by somebody at work. So
Somebody who doesn't like you.
So yeah, it's actually Lion Brewing, even though they're trying to claim it's a some kind of real,
independent thing.
Yeah, but it's not. It tastes okay, and it's funny because when I say that, I actually looked it up on Beer Advocate, and Beer Advocate gives it a score of 72, which is okay. That's it's okay. It's 4.78 ABV. It's English Pale Ale. It's ranked 39,604. I'm not quite sure what the other 39,003 beers in front of it are, but it's
ranked 39,000 out of 100.
Okay, and the first comment is, I'm not one who ever wants to be a spoiler. I hate those guys. I will, however, before I begin this review, say one thing. This beer sucks. I wouldn't go that far. It's okay.
Alrighty. And shout out to Psycho Stick for letting us use their music.
And James Squire for letting us abuse their beer.
And Helios for using sun-fueled innovation in their brewing process.
Whatever that means.
This surprised me too.
Oh,
it's the last known case of naturally occurring
syphilis.
Smallpox. No, not syphilis, which made the game Got Your Nose slightly more serious. The last naturally occurring case of smallpox. So essentially in 1977, they eradicated smallpox entirely.
Okay. Because I would have had a smallpox vaccination 2-3 years beforehand.
I think you got it when you were a kid.
Well, only if you're travelling. You didn't need to have it in Australia unless you were travelling, because there was no smallpox in Australia. But because I was travelling overseas, I had to get a smallpox vaccination and a cholera vaccination as well.
Right. Because I got it when I was a kid.
But you might have had to get it when you left the UK, maybe.
UK coming, yeah.
So
I was surprised that it was kind of that late. I would have, if you'd asked me, I would have said probably it was in the 20s or something, but it's not. What that, without getting into a vax thing. But
please don't.
No, but I thought it was interesting. The first smallpox vaccine was developed in 1796 by a guy, a UK doctor named Edward Jenner. You probably know this will probably turn up in one of your light bulb moments or We Created History books around how he came up with the vaccine. Basically, everybody was dying of smallpox. He noticed that milkmaids weren't dying of smallpox because they were infected by a thing called cowpox, which is a related but much less dangerous virus. So this is not what I thought I was doing. To test the idea that he could build smallpox immunity this way, he took material from a milkmaid's cowpox sore and injected it into the arm of an 8-year-old child. Hey kid, yeah, come over here. Do you like cows?
Yes, mister. Jesus. Highly ethical.
Yeah. The thing that I found even better was that sentence was followed up with, in case you weren't aware, an experiment that would be unacceptable by the standards of modern medical ethics today.
Really? That's amazing.
He named the procedure after the Latin for cow, vacca, and that's how the first vaccine was born.
There you go. I didn't know vacca was after cow.
Yeah, neither.
I also heard the other story. I had heard the 8-year-old, but I wouldn't have been able to tell you until you reminded me. But I had heard that story before. But there you go.
I don't want to get into it, but interestingly, even then, in 1796, there was an anti-vax movement.
Well, if you've got a guy going around injecting 8-year-old children with... I think that's pretty fair. I'd be anti-vax too.
Imagine explaining that to the kid comes home and it's like, what happened to your arm? This guy over he scratched the scab off this milkmaid. Put it in a needle and stuck it in my arm. Get to bed. How many times have I told you to stop lying? He would have had the last laugh when his dad died of smallpox. So there's been literally anti-vax movements since the days of vaccines. And although it did say there was lots of anti-vax protests until everybody started dying of smallpox, and they went, "Oh, actually, sorry, where do I get that needle thing again?"
Well, so that didn't happen after COVID, did it?
No,
it only got worse.
Yeah, there wasn't enough people dying, I don't think. Which leads me to music.
Aha. There's a very smooth segue there.
So, in 1977, Scott, what music were you listening to?
Okay, well,
Seamless.
I was listening to the Sex Pistols because that was the year that Nevermind the Bollocks came out.
Mm-hmm.
I was because the Clash's first album came out then too, but I wasn't listening to that. Ramones definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Also, David Bowie's Heroes, which was one of my favourite records at the time. What else came out? Fleetwood Mac's Rumours. Now, as much as I think that's West Coast, middle of the road stuff, I actually still quite like that album. I thought it's pretty sort of tight.
Right.
What I didn't like though was Steely Dan, who I thought was sort of the most boring, jazzy kind of middle of the road crap. But the other big thing that came out that year was Saturday Night Fever, and the soundtrack went ballistic.
Yes.
And back to my trip to the UK, my sisters, even though I was 15 or something, dragged me along to see Saturday Night Fever, which was an R-rated movie, and they smuggled me in. Oh. And it was a really, really boring movie.
Under a trench coat?
The thing that happened that night, which was quite interesting, was that on the way to the cinema, we saw John Cleese walking in the street.
Oh.
Yeah. So that was kind of like, that was a brush with fame, but the movie was boring as batshit, and I didn't really like it. Yeah.
Well, it was going to be all downhill from there.
Yeah. That's true.
That's not very silly.
Yeah, it was a massive disco era, obviously. Donna Summer's I Feel Love came out that year.
Right.
Which, because it was all very electronic, and it was produced by a guy called Giorgio Moroder, that Brian Eno, used to be in Roxy Music, became a big producer. He told Bowie that was the future of music, that kind of electronic kind of stuff. So, there. So what were you listening to in the 1977 year?
In the 1977.
Terrible way of saying it. What were you listening to in 1977?
This may surprise you. I hadn't really moved into the... So I wasn't listening to Sex Pistols.
Right.
I think I was listening to Ramones.
Right.
As much as I hate to admit it, but again, not a hoarder, but I still have this in my singles that I have owned collection, ABBA, Dancing Queen.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I would never have bought that at the time. I mean, that was not the kind of record you'd ever tell anybody you owned. But now that comes on, and I'm quite like, oh, Dancing Queen, isn't that cool? But then, when I've been caught dead listening to that.
Right.
So,
well, I didn't have any friends, so I didn't. I was pretty well all right. I was listening to Just tries this better or worse. So there was a TV show on called Starsky and Hutch,
Yes.
which had Paul Michael Glaser and David Soul in it. And me and my best friend at school at the time, our nicknames were Starsky and Hutch. And I was
Right.
Hutch. And because I was quite a weird kid, not a lot has changed. I took to that nickname quite heavily, and so Hutch's character, he would kind of dress like in slacks and proper shirts and like suit jackets and that sort of thing, and nice shoes, and so I took to dressing like that. Anyway, it leads me to.
Sorry, can I stop you there? Because dressing like Starsky and Hutch, I actually owned one of those little woolen cardigans like Starsky used to wear. I used to own one of those. Yeah.
Wow. So David Soul had recorded a song called "Don't Give Up on Us."
Don't give up on us.
Yes. So I was listening to that. I was also listening to Paul McCartney.
Oh, yes.
This had been an ongoing thing. At the time, Mull of Kintyre.
Yeah. Or as not quite. I think it might have been. Excuse me. There's a guy on radio in Sydney called Ian McRae, and I think he recorded a parody version of Mull of Kintyre called Mulligan's Tires. The treads on the inside, which I think was a terrible Irish joke. But anyway,
Right. I was also listening to, there was the year that Status Quo brought out Rockin' All Over the World.
okay, yep,
Although if you know Status Quo, you know that if you've heard one song, you've heard them all.
pretty
Literally.
much.
I think I was just getting into Kiss at that time. So I was listening to Love Gun. The album that I know I was listening to was Alice Cooper's Lace and Whiskey. Now, I don't remember this, but this was just before he went into his self-imposed alcohol and drug rehab thing. Tell me if you remember this. I'll read you the blurb. This is off his website. Lace and Whiskey. After many years portraying a dark and sinister persona, Alice Cooper tried... Let me do that again. After many years of portraying a dark and sister persona, after many years of portraying his sister... After many years of portraying a dark and sinister persona, Alice Cooper decided to try something new and donned the persona of a heavy-drinking comic PI named Maurice Escargot.
That doesn't ring a bell.
Me either. No. A fictional character in the same vein as Inspector Clouseau, Cooper is pictured as Escargot on the back cover of Lace and Whiskey, which was still a rock-based album, but stylistically influenced by Cooper's love for 1940s and 1950s movies and music.
No, that does not ring a bell at all.
Its big single was a song called "You and Me," the "You and Me Ain't Movie Stars."
Oh, yeah, yep.
Which is mistakenly believed to have been recorded by Frank Sinatra.
Huh?
Which it wasn't.
Who believes that?
No, well, I did until I did the research on this.
Oh, okay.
Because it's kind of well believed that it was covered by Frank Sinatra because Frank Sinatra covered a song called "You and Me" that's kind of similar, but it's a different song.
Okay.
Classic Rock magazine described the album as a cry for help more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really get critical acclaim. Or critical acclaim, probably. Either.
Yes.
And I was listening to the theme from Rocky, Gonna Fly Now, which was the number one song in the US charts at the time in 1977, after Rocky came out in 1976.
Okay. Because I was going to say, when did Rocky come out? Yeah.
1976. For quite a long period of time, I thought they were singing Willy Wonka.
What?
Willy Wonka.
Okay.
So that's what I was listening to.
Very good then. Hey guys, it's Scott, and I wanted to tell you about my book called Unearthed, A History Nerd Abroad in Europe. 2 friends, 1 continent, and honestly, the best thing I've ever written. However, when it came time to make the audiobook, I had a big problem. I'd paid a human narrator for my last book. It was a fair rate for great work, and it didn't break even. Expensive lesson. But handing Unearthed to someone else never sat right either. Unearthed is my story, my voice on every page. Problem was, I didn't have the studio, the budget, the patience, or the skill to do it. So I found another way. It took a while to get the cadence right, the rhythm, the voice, the moments that needed to land just so. I think it was worth it. Unearthed, A History Nerd Abroad in Europe, available now on Spotify, Apple Books, and Google Play. By the way, this voice you're listening to, it's AI. The same AI that narrated the book. Audible wouldn't accept it. Apparently it's AI slop. Their loss.
And we're back for some space stuff, apparently.
Check out this segue.
Mm-hmm.
We were just talking about music.
Mm-hmm.
In 1977, the Voyager 2 spacecraft launched, which contained a record.
Ah, yes.
A golden record that has a whole bunch of music and other stuff on it. See? It seems a seamless segue.
It is a seamless segue.
Yes. When I had a look at what was on this recording, 50 greetings in 55 languages.
Hello.
And
Hello.
And whale. Hopefully they don't speak whale because we don't know what the whales could have been going. Fuck off. Get the fucking microphone away from me, you dick. We've said that to them.
Is that the same one that had the picture of the 2 nude people on it?
Well, yes and no. So it didn't have. They wanted to put naked pictures, but NASA vetoed it.
Oh no, I'm pretty sure there were naked pictures on one of these probes.
So they've got the drawings.
Yeah,
they've got drawings of human genitalia.
Yep.
But not photo. Like they haven't got they were going to have photos of naked people.
Oh, okay.
They decided not to because they thought it might be offensive.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I saw a meme once that was some alien writing to NASA saying, "Please stop sending nudes."
The songs that are on there. So it's like a whole bunch of world music. They said.
Yeah.
So Mozart. the lesser known classical composer. Often confused with Beethoven. Jesus Christ. Bach, Mozart, Beethoven, Stravinsky. There's also some Peruvian pan. Fuck me.
Now you're just trying to piss the aliens off.
Peruvian panpipes. There's Australian Aboriginal songs, Navajo chants, some Japanese songs, an Indian raga, Georgian folk song, Azerbaijani bagpipes, Chinese guzheng, I don't know if that's the way that you pronounce it, and Louis Armstrong,
right,
singing Melancholy Blues,
right,
Blind Willie Johnson, singing Dark Was the Night,
right.
Which makes sense because he's blind. But it did make me think, they're just going to think we're really depressed. And
is Chuck Berry on there?
Yes, the which was a very controversial addition. Chuck Berry, Johnny Be Good.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that's what song it was. I thought there was a Chuck Berry on there.
Yeah. So that's out there traveling through space. It was launched in 1977. How long do you reckon it was intended to be going for?
Not very long. Certainly not as long because it's still going, isn't it?
Yeah, 4 to 5 years. It's still going.
Yep. But it was meant to keep going, but it just was meant to not work. but it still seems to be working.
Yeah. So it's currently 20.6 billion kilometers away, or 12.8 billion miles. It will remain in range until 2036.
Okay.
And then they've said it'll just keep going, but we won't be able to communicate with it.
There you go.
And go Oz. All communications are handled by Australia's Deep Space Station 43 near Canberra.
Okay.
It's the only antenna capable of communicating with it. Because I think it's kind of going in that way, isn't it?
Okay.
And because we're good at space stuff.
Yeah, fair enough then.
In the same year,
Yes.
James Elliott, Edward Dunham, and Jessica Mink discovered there were rings around Uranus. They're in Perth.
Look, I just recorded the audiobook of our trip to Europe last year, or the year before last now, which is called Unearthed. And at one point, something came up about Uranus, but it was after you'd left me. And I had made some comment about how if CJ had been there, we'd have been making Uranus jokes for like 2 or 3 hours. And I had forgotten I'd written that till I had to read it, and I was like, okay, there you go.
I'm glad I'm in keeping.
Yep. You do not disappoint.
Thank you. Well, from a consistency perspective. So that's space stuff going out.
Yes.
Space stuff going round and round. So these are the three categories that I've chosen for this section. Space stuff going out, space stuff going round and round, and space stuff coming in.
Okay. Better out than in, I'd say.
Yeah. So space stuff going round and round, it was the first time that the Space Shuttle Enterprise had taken off and gone on its maiden flight.
Yeah, but it didn't fly into space, though.
No, it was piggybacked on a 747.
Yes. Yes. Ironically, Enterprise never went to space.
Right, because they were Star Wars fans, because that was the year of Star Wars.
Yeah.
And space stuff coming in.
Well, they couldn't have called it the Death Star.
Well, hold that thought, because we'll obviously talk about Star Wars. Here's this. What's this clever link? Just in the space stuff coming in category. It was the year that there was a signal received by SETI, which is the
WOW signal.
Yes. Yeah. So it was so SETI is the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence, and it was this signal that went for 72 seconds that was completely unlike anything anybody had seen previously, and it's called the WOW signal because the person, when they came in the next day and saw it, they wrote "Wow!" ! And they did a whole bunch of research. They've kind of never really worked out what it was. They suspected for a long time that it was extraterrestrial and started sending signals back in that direction. However, when I did some research on this, a lot of this stuff seems to be, they think it may have just been a bounce of radio thing. Clearly, I didn't research it that well. Radio thing stuff that had kind of bounced back, and a lot of that type of signal is quite common now that we've got systems that can pick up better stuff.
Okay. Now, just about the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, I read the books of the three-body problem. The American TV show only goes on for the first book, but the book, there are a number of books. And one of the books...
They can only handle one body problem.
But one of the reason the aliens discover Earth is because we were sending out signals and they hear us. And it turns out there's actually a theory called the dark forest theory. There's always the question about if there are so many stars and so many potential civilizations out there, why don't we ever hear of them? And one of the theories that then we might not hear from them is because as soon as you stick your head up, someone destroys you, so you're not a threat.
Right.
So if we kept on broadcasting, and if they got to the point where they realise that we're capable of reaching them, and they think that we're a threat, they would destroy us before we found out about them.
Right.
I'm not saying that's a mainstream theory, but it's one of those things that part of the book is based on this whole dark forest theory. In fact, one of the books is called The Dark Forest.
That doesn't really explain, though, why we haven't found anything. It just says that we haven't found anything.
Well, but it also explains it's because people have learned to be quiet.
Yeah, but we haven't, though.
Yes, but we haven't just sent out a message in the right direction, or we haven't been broadcasting loudly, or not loudly, but with enough power, or we haven't been seen to be being a threat. Right. But the theory is that the people who, or any civilization who realizes that's a threat, they immediately shut up and just stick to their own space.
I think
so they're not obliterated.
You think of the Rebel Alliance or the what is it, the Empire?
Anyway, just throwing it out there.
Okay, right. Well, that's what they did, and which may be the death of us all. A segue role in this episode. So we got the wow signal. That signal inspired Carl Sagan to write the novel Contact.
Yep.
The novel Contact was later made into a film starring Jodie Foster, which people pan it. I actually really like it.
I really like it too. The only reason they panned it is because of how the aliens chose to reveal themselves to her. Oh, she saw her dad. Oh, the aliens were just a dad. Well, that's not really. If you watch it properly, that's not what it is.
There's a really good, really cleverly shot scene in that where she runs to the medicine cabinet, which if you haven't seen the movie, I'd recommend watching the movie. If you just like really cleverly done and directed shots, just Google the scene from Contact where she runs up to the medicine cabinet. Contact, starring Jodie Foster. Jodie Foster was in the movie that was released in 1977, Freaky Friday.
Oh, okay.
Which we'll get to in the movie section. Had she not been in Freaky Friday, she'd actually turned down the part of Princess Leia in Star Wars.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And I fact-checked that in multiple places. Yeah, she was offered the role as Princess Leia and said, I can't because I've been contracted with Disney to do Freaky Friday. Which links to what were you watching in 1977?
What was I watching in 1977? Obviously Star Wars. That was probably the biggest one. Well, obviously Saturday Night Fever I went and saw. In those days it was before the days of – was it before the days of VCR? I think it was. In Australia?
Yeah, probably. Well, it was before the days of like people being able to buy civilian VCR.
So you weren't watching movies at home. The only movies you go to watch at the movies. They're the only two movies I think I ever saw at the movies that year.
Oh, wow.
But I think I saw Star Wars at least twice, possibly three times. And then TV, I was probably watching MASH. And I can't think of what else I was watching at that time, really. They're the main things I was definitely watching.
Right. It's a shame we didn't know in advance.
Oh, I would have watched watching Starsky and Hutch.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yes. So you're bagging me for not having done any preparation. Is that what you're saying?
Maybe. Having said that, the only reason that I didn't need preparation was because I discovered that one of my all-time favourite movies was from 1977, which I watched again the other day, Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, okay.
Which is the film that it not only kind of was a huge thing for Burt Reynolds' career, it also made the sales of Trans Ams double the following year. It was the first movie that he was in with Sally Field, and that was where they first started dating. It was directed by Hal Needham, who was a stuntman, who was actually Burt Reynolds' stunt double.
Okay. What did that show?
What?
in that movie?
Yeah. No, he was like his Burt Reynolds' son.
Previously.
Previously, yeah. It was the second highest grossing film of 1977.
Okay.
Only behind Star Wars. Do you know whose favourite movie it was, aside from mine?
I'm going to say, I think I know this. Ronald Reagan.
No.
No. Okay. Sorry.
Somebody even more surprising.
Okay. I don't know.
And I fact-checked this as well. Alfred Hitchcock.
Really?
It was his favourite movie.
Wow.
It was the last movie he watched before he died. I don't know if that's because he went, I've had enough, just kill me. He really liked the way that the story was told and the way that it was filmed.
Okay. Now, while you were talking then, I did the research I should have done before the episode. And there is one thing that stands out that I definitely was watching, which was the mini-series Roots. Yes. Which was, I thought at the time, I don't think it'd stand up now. I think it would probably be, now they'd have a grittier sort of HBO version where it was a lot more graphic. But I was pretty affecting at the time, I thought. And actually the other one, an English TV show called Mind Your Language. And it was about an English guy who taught English in a school for immigrants. And it was just full of racist jokes the entire time.
Do you know, I was amazed recently when I was talking to some of my Indian friends.
Yeah.
And they mentioned it.
Yeah.
And I went, And they said, no, it was the funniest thing we could watch on TV. I don't know whether it's a reflection on what they had on TV, but they thought it was hilarious.
Okay.
The only thing I can think is that maybe because it was because it's maybe a little bit South Park of they kind of went, well, we're just making fun of everybody.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe
it gave it a universal appeal. It'd be one of those shows that if it was on TV now, there would be like season 1, episode 3 and 9, season 2, episode 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Smokey and the Bandit, one of my favourite movies, which is I'm quite pleased to be up there with Hitchcock. Is one of his movies. The other movie that I was watching.
Watched it.
Although you didn't said, I hadn't watched Office Space, and then I watched it and I didn't like it, so you probably wouldn't like it. It's also got Jerry Reed in it, who's a country and western singer.
Okay.
Who wrote a song especially for the film, and Jackie Gleason. And Jackie Gleason basically improvised the entire movie.
Okay.
He plays Buford T. Justice. The other movie I was watching, which was the most successful independent film of 1977. So it appears that I actually had good taste in films.
Right.
It does have O.J. Simpson in it, but that's beside the point. Capricorn 1.
Okay, yeah.
Which is a film that surprisingly not many people know, even though it was a very successful movie and it's got some really, it's got James Brolin in it, Josh Brolin's father, O.J. Simpson, Hal Holbrook, Telly Savalas, all the big actors.
Okay.
For those who haven't seen it, the plot of the movie is basically NASA are sending a mission to Mars. The astronauts get onto the rocket. Just before takeoff, the life support system fails, so they have to whisk them off the rocket.
Right.
And they decide to let the rocket take off and then fake the Mars landing in a studio.
Oh.
The way it was inspired by all the conspiracy theories about the moon landing in 1969. I won't spoil it. Actually, it probably does spoil it, but it's from 1977. So if you haven't seen it yet, it's probably not going to matter. And all is well until the rocket burns up on re-entry and hilarity ensues because they've now got 3 astronauts who
can't get back to their lives.
Yeah. So it's a really clever movie. What I've found amusing is that clips from it where they're filming the fake Mars landing in the studio. Clips of that have turn up in fake moon landing documentaries.
Oh, okay.
And I've read stuff where people have said, if you want to believe the moon landing is fake, then just go and watch the movie Capricorn 1 and you can see where NASA got all their ideas from, despite the fact that it was made 8 years later. Which brings us to our competition that we started.
Sorry?
That I'm 99.9% sure you cheated on last time.
Oh, the quote one.
Yeah.
No, didn't cheat. I can't guarantee I'll do as well, but...
I can't guarantee I'll do as well because I don't have them in advance.
Bastard.
All right. We'll start with some simple ones.
Okay.
The love bug turns the great race into a Herbie Derby.
I'm assuming it's one of the Love Bug movies. Herbie Goes Bananas or something.
In fact, Herbie Goes to Monte Carlo.
Oh, okay.
Which, when I read I can remember watching. Well, I can't remember watching it, but I remember that I would have watched it because I like the Herbie movies. I'm gonna have to watch one again because it seems to be just a live action version of Cars. Because Herbie falls in love with one of the other cars.
Oh, okay.
And I presume the only way you could fall in love with another car is if the other car is also anthropomorphic.
Well, possibly. Okay. Hit me.
Okay, so that's one. All right. This will be a tricky one because it didn't actually come out. But somewhere out there, it may all be happening right now.
Star Wars.
Yes, that was an alternate tagline that they were going to use and didn't.
Okay.
And then I think they used it when they did the redo version.
Okay.
Sorry for the technical terms.
Yeah, well, I don't know where I heard it, but I'm sure I've heard that before. So,
okay.
Yeah, that wasn't just a guess. That was something in the back of my mind.
Right. We Are Not Alone.
Well, that's Close Encounters.
Yes. Yeah, I was surprised. So if nothing else, in 1977, of movies that came out was Star Wars, Close Encounters, Saturday Night Fever.
Yeah.
It was a reasonably big year.
Yeah.
And a lot of others. A wild new screwball comedy with a switch.
Wild new screwball comedy with a switch. Freaky Friday?
Yes, it was the first Freaky Friday movie. It was made in 76, released in 77. The other tagline was, Annabelle isn't herself today. Neither is her mother this morning. They became each other.
Okay, that's not very pithy, is it?
No. So it's had 4 remakes, 1 sequel, a couple of rip-offs, and a horror version.
Horror version.
The final one, I think. What we have here is a total lack of respect for the law.
I'm going to, even though I haven't seen the movie, I'm going to assume it's Smokey and the Bandit.
Fuck you. Yes, it is. This isn't a movie quote, but this is just when I was researching movie quotes, I decided that I would mention this one as a dishonorable mention.
Right.
A movie called Chatterbox.
Uh-huh.
Runs for 1 hour and 13 minutes.
So
this is the
a real epic then.
This is the description. A young woman who works in a beauty parlor discovers that her vagina can talk, which causes her no end of trouble. Thanks, IMDb.
Oh, dear.
So there you go. So that's what was going on in 1977.
Exciting stuff.
So, Scott, what's your takeaway from 1977?
Okay, my takeaway is that it's a pretty interesting year. I think you could argue that it was one of the most consequential years in music history. I mean, not necessarily for the quality, but for the cultural impact of some of the music. Mm-hmm. So I think that's pretty big. I also would think that, like Star Wars, obviously has had a still resonating up till today, even though the movies are getting progressively worse, as we talked about last episode when we talked about that stupid one of the second trilogy. But yeah, so there's that. Obviously, Close Encounters. That's quite a massive year for various things that have been very resonant in our popular culture.
Yeah. I always find it amazing, like the idea of creating something. Like George Lucas, who at some point would have been sitting in his kitchen scribbling his ideas for Star Wars in a notebook. To have that level of something that you've thought of and to have the level of influence in the world that it's got is just mental. I can't even grasp the concept of that.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
The other thing we didn't talk about with that I forgot to talk about with Star Wars was the calculations that have been done of how many people were killed on the Death Star.
Right.
So there was 1.7 million rebel troops, and then there was another 250,000 civilians who were in various contractors and people running kitchens and cleaners and stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Rebel Alliance managed to kill 250,000 innocent people.
And what are your takeaways, CJ?
So I found it unusual that this is the first year that we've done where we didn't all think the world was going to end.
But I think we did.
Well, not to the same level. Like every other year, it's been the world is going to end because of, literally expecting the world to end. 1977 just seemed to be the year that we went, just do it in little bits.
Fair enough.
Really? Yeah, we'll just kind of kill people off a couple of hundred at a time and see if we can do it that way. And also come up with good ideas to make people live longer and be healthier.
Okay.
And also sent dick pics to the stars.
In 1977, the Doomsday Clock said it was 7 minutes to midnight.
Right.
Whereas it's just come out recently. What's it now? 2026.
I don't know. Iron Maiden said it was 2 minutes to midnight.
85 seconds to midnight. So last year it was 89 seconds. In
we should make that part of the intro.
We should. 6 minutes to midnight in 2010. So it's getting worse, can I say?
Good work.
Yes.
Go us.
Yeah.
You should make sure to like, subscribe, and review this episode and the podcast
you absolutely
on
should.
your platform of choice. And
or some other platform.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, all the platforms.
Or platform you don't choose. That'd really fool everybody.
In fact, if platform 9 3/4 even. And, of course, reading from the script, don't forget to send your comments and questions to our email at the old Philome 69.
We probably should grab that email address.
I think, the fact that we've had the old folks home 69 for, 4 years, and the only emails we've got for Viagra and invoices.
They must have heard our episodes.
And, of course, follow up our dates on Facebook. No, follow our updates on Facebook. So, again, which or not, because I don't know. I haven't looked at Facebook for I couldn't tell you how long. So who knows? Our page could have been taken over by now.
Well, who knows? But we probably should actually place things up there when we release episodes and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
we should try.
Yeah.
We should just try.
We should make an effort.
Yeah.
You barely make the effort to do this.
And on that note, say good night, CJ.
Good night, CJ. So picture this. You're walking along a beach.
Why am I walking along the beach?
You're on holidays.
Why?
Yes.
Well, that's a bit sad, isn't it?
Look, you're walking along the beach and you find a bottle in the sand, all right? And you think, oh, brilliant, a genie.
Do I, though? Because I probably think, oh, brilliant, rubbish.
Well, congratulations. Now you're missing out on 3 wishes because you couldn't be bothered to pick up a bottle.
Fair point. I pick up the bottle.
No, it's too late. You've already walked past it. Somebody else got the wishes now.
That's not how it works.
That's exactly the kind of thing that does happen in my book. Funny you should ask.
Did you just ambush me with a book plug?
I thought you said book plug. Absolutely. I put the L in subtle.
Don't you mean the B?
Is there a B? Anyway, it's a collection of short stories. Some are funny, ha-ha, and some are funny odd.
What made you write a book like that? Wouldn't it be better if it was either all funny or all odd?
You're missing the point.
But why write that?
So when I used to say, when I was a kid, oh, that's funny, my dad used to say, you mean funny ha-ha or funny odd? So each of the stories is, so it's a mix. Some are funny ha-ha, some are funny odd. But the thing that's consistent about all of them is they all have a twist, kind of like an unexpected outcome in the tale.
So why didn't you call it Tales of the Unexpected? A twist in the tale, around the twist. Why didn't you call it any of those things?
Actually, any of those probably would have been better.
So anyway, the genie is funny odd?
No, the genie's funny ha-ha. Genie's a surfer named Duke who can grant wishes, but they don't always go as expected.
So it's a tale of the unexpected.
And funny odd is like a small girl with oddly perfect teeth who gets cornered in an empty warehouse by a group of bullies. But this girl isn't as weak as she appears to be.
Oh, that's unexpected.
Can you not do that?
Well, so what else is in there besides homicidal children and incompetent genies?
Funny you should ask. In fact, there's 2 stories about time travel. One funny ha-ha, one funny odd. A one-sided conversation with a concierge.
And something unexpected happened?
All right, fine. Let's just go back to the episode.
No, sorry, go on.
No, I'm done.
Okay, so where can people find this masterpiece? In their local bookstore?
What? No, bookstores have got standards. Amazon will publish any shit. So just search for no, it is actually pretty good. It's got reviews and people like it. If you go to Amazon and you search Funny You Should Ask by Elwood Scott, make sure you do Funny You Should Ask by Elwood Scott because there's a couple of Funny You Should Asks. Had I thought to look for that, I maybe have called it Tales of the Unexpected, and then there wouldn't have been any confusion.
There's a few of those as well.
Yeah, possibly.
Are you sure? I don't remember putting on this banana hammock this morning.